Hey, what up anyone is watching? This is View with Ice and this is gonna be my second devil fruit related video on this channel. Please like and subscribe, and also keep in mind that this video won't be in a specific order because I don't care about order, but I do hope you subscribe because I really want to climb the mountain and finally reach that 1000 subscribers. I think I'm going to start this video off with easily one of the most ridiculous powers to ever be introduced in One Piece, and that is of course going to be the Dooomi. Suga has one of the most OP devil fruit abilities in the entire story. With one touch he is able to transform you into a toy. She may not be one of the most powerful characters physically, but she is without a doubt an S rank level danger in my eyes. Because with this power, she was able to basically enslave an entire country. Yes, Doflamingo and family were of course backing her up, but her power was one of the biggest reasons why Doflamingo ruled over Dressrosa for such a long time. When she transforms someone into a toy, she can make up a contract for that specific character and essentially bend that person to her will. What makes this power even more scary is the fact that it looks like she can transform anyone into a toy. It doesn't look like a physical power would play a factor here because she transformed a lot of decently powered characters into toys and even transformed a giant. And when you are in your toyish state, your power is drastically cut down, as seen with Kyros. Kyros was still skilled in this form, but he was far from the level he was when he was a human. Also, another great thing about this power is that it gives its user eternal youth, but it comes at a price because it keeps you at the same age at which you were when you ate the fruit. Suga looks 10, but in actuality she is 22 years old. If she would have eaten the devil fruit at a different age, I feel she could have been a little bit more powerful in a sense, so this eternal youth situation could be a good or bad thing depending on which age you are. Another power that I've always felt should have gotten a little bit more recognition is the Gashu Gomi. Amongst Logia powers, I rarely ever hear people mention this one, but it is actually a great power. I think it is kind of low ranked amongst Logias because it doesn't come across as outright destructive like the majority of Logia devil fruits, but it can be in fact outright dangerous, and this was showcased by Caesar Clown on a few different occasions. And Caesar is kind of the best person to have this power. He is a scientist and has a great amount of knowledge surrounding chemistry. He can use this power in a few different ways, such as being able to ignite gas and cause explosions. He is capable of flight. He can shoot beams of lit gas out of his mouth that is also very explosive. Point is, he can use gas in a lot of different ways. But the one thing that stood out to me the most is his ability to remove all the oxygen from the surrounding area that he is in. Out of all the things I remember Caesar doing, this came across to me as the most impressive because it doesn't matter who you are in the One Piece universe, everyone uses oxygen to breathe and stay alive. It doesn't matter if you're an admiral, it doesn't matter if you're a Yonko, and it doesn't even matter if you are the Pirate King, you still need oxygen to breathe. I have always felt that if Caesar was a more serious character and a skilled fighter, he could have easily been in the upper echelon of dangerous One Piece characters, especially if you are facing him without any knowledge of what he is capable of doing. Taking the oxygen out of the air may not be a flashy technique, but it is for sure a highly dangerous ability that could easily be the downfall of a lot of characters. This was shown when Caesar defeated the likes of the Shigi, Smoker, Frankie and Robin. He even got a victory on Luffy using this very technique. A bloodthirsty version of Caesar Clown with high combative skills could easily be a top tier adversary in One Piece. Each devil fruit has different uses, but if you are going to be looking for a devil fruit to cause mass destruction, the Isanomi is one of the best powers for the job. Although Pika didn't really come across as all that impressive in my eyes, his power stood out to me. The Isanomi does have drawbacks because the real strength of the fruit actually depends on which type of environment you are in. Pika isn't able to generate a stone, but he is able to manipulate stone that he can touch. So if he is, for example, on sea or in a desert, his power wouldn't have the same level of effect that it had in Dressrosa, a place which was almost completely made out of stone. Although this power is dependent on certain factors to be completely useful, I still felt that it at least deserved to get a little shout out in this video. The stone giant or stone golem that he created in Dressrosa should be enough to convince you of how powerful this ability can be. Next up we have the Noron Moromi, which is currently in possession of Perona, a character that I didn't expect to love as much as I do. The Noron Moromi has a few different things that it can do. Perona can create ghosts in different shapes and forms, and if these ghosts attach to someone, she can explode them by causing shockwaves. She is also capable of astral projection, but I don't really like this ability that much because her spirit leaves her body, and when she does this, she basically leaves her body lifeless and defenseless, and if anyone can find the body during a fight, that is an instant L. I mean, this power could be useful in different ways because when she is in this astral form, she cannot be hurt. Although, I don't know if Haki based attacks could work, but from what I know, attacks would just phase through her, but I still don't like the idea of her leaving her body defenseless in a fight. Okay, so now for the real reason why this power made this list, and that is obviously going to be because of the negative hollow technique. This ability leaves your opponent defenseless and in a negative and depressed state for a few moments. This was first shown when Zoro, Luffy and Frankie came into contact with the hollows. When someone is in this state, they could be a very easy target, and this could be a great chance for the user to go in for the kill. This ability may seem harmless, but any type of power that can leave someone incapacitated during a fight is something that I consider to be very dangerous. Negative Hollow is easily Perona's most dangerous ability. However, this power does have a weakness, and this was shown when she came into contact with none other than the legendary Captain Usopp. If the person is already a negative person to begin with, the hollow effect doesn't work on that individual, and this loophole in the Noron Moromi was the reason why Usopp was the perfect opponent for Perona. So it has its ups and downs, but it is still a very dangerous power at the end of the day. Next up we have Admiral Green Bull's Mori Moromi. While Green Bull is somewhat of an asshole of a character, his power is definitely not something to ignore. It is also somewhat unique in the Logia division. Most of the Logias we've encountered so far in the story were more directly based on elements. But then again, elements are found in nature, and this power is essentially the epitome of nature. It also kind of reminds me of Hashirama's wood style jutsu. But just to showcase how powerful this ability is, Green Bull was able to make quick work of two of the strongest characters in the Wano arc, King and Queen. I of course 100% understand that King and Queen were still busy recovering, but he defeated them almost effortlessly. It was once stated somewhere that Green Bull hasn't eaten in 3 years, but after watching him fight and now knowing what his power is, I can fully understand how he actually doesn't need to eat, because one of the special abilities of the Mori Moromi is to dehydrate your enemies by impaling them. I'm assuming when he does this, he is sucking all of the liquid and nutrients out of the bodies of his enemies. Also, since he has a plant-based devil fruit, photosynthesis most likely plays a big role in him not having to eat foods, because he basically just needs water and sunlight to survive. Knowing all of this, Green Bull definitely has one of the best powers in the entire series. He may not be a likable character, but he won the lottery in the devil fruit department. The next one is something I feel is a little underrated, but to be completely honest, I definitely understand why it is underappreciated, and that is mainly because the user of this power is Foxy. Foxy isn't exactly the type of character that anyone takes seriously, and for that, a lot of people easily forget about him or just don't want to remember him. But his ability made an impression on me during the Long Wing Longland arc and his fight with Luffy. We all know that Luffy was obviously, without a doubt, far stronger than Foxy, but even though Luffy was on a higher level, Foxy still gave him a decent amount of trouble during their fight. This is another power that you could say is nerfed because of its user, because if this power was in the hands of someone more capable, that person could easily be a very dangerous opponent to face. Because let's be honest, if someone can slow you down, it leaves you helpless and defenseless, and when you are in that position you could easily be killed. And the Noron Moromi keeps you in a slow down state for about 30 seconds, so that is enough time for the user to take the ultimate advantage on his opponent. This may not be a very fancy and in-your-face flashy power, but it is surely something that could be highly effective if used correctly. One negative thing about the Noron Moromi is that it can be reflected, and the user of this power could also be affected by the ability if it hits him. I would also love to know what this fruit could do in its awakened form. Since devil fruit powers tend to affect the environment when they are awakened, could this power slow everything down in a certain area? If it is capable of something like that, I feel the Noron Moromi could be a sleeper OP ability, and much more respect should be placed on this devil fruit's name. I feel Akainu is a very obvious choice for one of the best powers in One Piece, but I still think he needs to be mentioned. The Magu Magi is a Magma Logia devil fruit ability, and one thing we have learned about any type of Logia fruit is that they are extremely dangerous and powerful. This could be seen as Akainu was one of the biggest threats during the Marineford arc, and that was mainly due to his devil fruit ability, and he was also the one person who did the most damage one-on-one against Whitebeard. Yes, I of course understand that Whitebeard was far from 100%, and Whitebeard also defeated Akainu in his weakened state, but it still showed us how impressive Sakazuki was with this power. During a clash with Ace, Akainu was able to burn the Mera Moromi user, and that just emphasized the power of this fruit. Being able to burn someone who is made of fire was impressive. Then again, factors like Haki could of course be brought up, and it could also be one of the reasons why the power was so overwhelming, but at the end of the day, Akainu dominated Ace during their clash of fire. Which is kind of weird because fire can actually get far hotter than magma, but then again, those other temperatures could most likely be exclusive to an awakened Mera Moromi. Orange flames can reach temperatures around 1100 to 1200 degrees Celsius, and Ace was exclusively using orange flames. Magma can reach temperatures between 700 to 1300 degrees Celsius. White flames can measure up to 1300 to 1500 degrees Celsius, and blue flames can reach ridiculous temperatures such as 2500 to 3000 degrees Celsius. I of course checked all of these out on Google, so if you are a very overly smart person, you can of course correct me. This is of course just speculation, and I could of course be 100% incorrect, and everything could just be because Akainu was simply just stronger than Ace. But I am moving away from the point of the Magu Magi. Point is, it is one of the strongest powers out there, and Punk Hazard is more evidence of that, and it is also in possession of the perfect character to really showcase how great it is. Next up, we have easily one of the most helpful abilities that has ever been introduced to us. Now, it is very obvious that this isn't a very offensive ability, but it is one of the best quick escape abilities out there. With this power, you can essentially open a door out of any and everything you touch. An example of this is when Bluna opened up a door in Luffy's face. It of course didn't do any damage, and it was temporary, but it could actually be a great way to confuse your enemy during a fight, or just to buy some time to think about your next move. But that isn't really what impresses me the most about the Dooomi. The most impressive thing I have seen that Bluna do with this power is use a technique called air door. With this, Bluno basically opens up a door out of thin air, allowing him to access some kind of pocket dimension. This technique was shown during his fight with Luffy and in the One Piece Red movie. If you are in battle with a very powerful enemy, you could essentially use this power to escape. Your enemy could of course follow you, but if you close the door before he comes, you would be safe. Definitely a great ability if you are in a tough spot. It is also a great ability if you have to be stealthy, and it is actually perfect for Bluno because he is essentially a spy, and with this door fruit he can move around undetected and almost have no limit to where he can travel while in this pocket dimension. I don't know how deep this power could go in its awakened state, but I would truly be happy to ever get the opportunity to see what more this devil fruit is capable of doing. Boa Hancock is another one of few characters in this video that I feel has the perfect devil fruit ability to go with her character. The Mori Moromi basically feels like something that was custom made for the Pirate Empress. This fruit is of course impressive, but I don't think this power would have been such an OP ability if someone else had it. The reason why I say this is because the Mori Moromi uses the emotions of the opposition to his advantage. The power essentially feeds on the love, lust, adoration or attraction of a person, and if you feel any of those emotions towards the user, you can be turned into stone. And that is why Boa Hancock having this power is so perfect, because Hancock is considered to be the most beautiful woman in the One Piece verse, and almost everyone is attracted to her beauty, and that means most men and even women could be petrified. Her power can be used in the form of beams and physical attacks that can also cause the petrification. So she is essentially an all-rounder. She can attack you from a distance and close range and still be highly dangerous. Plus, she's also one of the very few female characters who possesses all three types of haki. That plus the Mori Moromi makes Hancock a top tier danger in my eyes. For a very long time, I didn't take Big Mom's devil fruit seriously. I of course understood that she was a Yonko and her fruit was definitely an important aspect of her power. Her displays of power during the Whole Cake Island arc should have been enough to win me over, because it was so obvious how dangerous the Soru Soru no Mi was. But it wasn't until that incredible fight with Law and Kid that I truly started to appreciate how ridiculous of a devil fruit this is. If I had a ranking system for Paramecia types, I would surely throw the Soul fruit in the S-class danger section, because this power has the ability to instantly kill someone. Yes, a lot of other powers could do that obviously, but Big Mom could literally take your entire lifespan if she so chooses. Although that ability is only available if the opposed is fearful of her, but that's where the trick comes in. Big Mom is or was one of the most infamous pirates in the entire story of One Piece. That makes that technique so much more dangerous, because there are very few people who could stand up to her with no fear. And as we all know, Big Mom can use soul fragments to bring almost anything to life. This could be seen during almost every single episode of the Whole Cake Island arc. There is of course an exception. She cannot use this ability on living things, however, she can use this ability on herself. This was shown during the fight with Law and Kid when she brought her own skeleton to life and she was able to heal a broken hand in no time. There are so many more intricacies to the Soru Soru no Mi, but I don't want to talk all day. One of the most powerful abilities of this devil fruit is that Big Mom can create incredibly powerful homies out of her own soul. They come in the form of Napoleon, Zeus, Prometheus and Hera, and as shown on multiple occasions, these homies are capable of ridiculous power. Now looking back at this fruit power, I can 100% understand why Big Mom ruled over the seas for such a long time. Her physical powers are of course nothing to disrespect, but the soul fruit elevated her to a ridiculous level. Law and Kid would have never been able to defeat her one-on-one.